What's going on, everyone? Second video for the day. I've got a really cool one to kind of mention here. Another neat little kind of side note here. I've coined it as Tiger Print. I'll give you a little bit of the backstory. So this printer is not mine. This is a client's printer. He brought this in for me to initially level and get fixed up. We did that, got everything kind of going good for him. He took it back home, had some issues with it still, so he brought it back, and we are doing a print tuning on it. So we're printing his one object that he wants to print off of this, and we're tuning it. So I've got a couple of those objects here. This big round clock. But yeah, so we're getting this Solvo printed in really nice. It was really interesting because this took quite a while to get it there. I probably had to restart the first print at least 15 to 25 times to get it to get in just right. And one of the tricks that I ended up having to do was change the flow rate. So the flow rate is now reduced to 90%, and that's actually making really good prints, and that seems like the appropriate extrusion. So I don't know where in the E-steps. I don't worry too much about the E-steps. If it's easy enough to change it in the Cura profile, I just do it like that. But we are wanting a really nice top surface. And he was pretty happy with the regular top surface, but of course with ironing. So here's the two test blocks. And people have gotten their dirty mitts all over it, so you can see that this is not a perfect ironing. Right in here is about perfect, but there are lines, and my finger and fingernail can actually catch on those, and you can hear my fingernail going through that. Also, if you're wondering about the scratches on my hand, I have cats, and I like playing with them, and I'm, as aggressive as they are with me. Not really. They're probably more aggressive, so don't think I'm doing anything weird. It's just cat scratches. This is the tuned ironing, and it came out really nice. As you can hear, my nail just goes right across it. It's not catching anywhere. Really nice. Now unfortunately it looks like you can see those lines because dirty fingers got in it, but otherwise that can probably, oh, look at that, it's kind of wiping off. You can see that is a pretty nice finish. Now, even though this was a nice finish, this was at, I believe, 10 or 12% ironing. I think this was at 10. This was probably closer to 15. We then printed this one with it, and we can see that we got kind of that similar effect on the first one here, but on this larger piece. And I do believe that's because of how much larger it is. But an unintended, actually it was this one. This one was first. Was it? Yeah, this was the first one. So an unintended consequence was this cool kind of patterning here, and that's kind of what I wanted to highlight here, as this almost looks like a tiger print or a wood grain type of finish. So I'm kind of intrigued by it, kind of like it. If you asked me to do this on purpose, I would probably have a good amount of difficulty doing it, but now that I understand the settings to do this, I could probably reproduce it. So yeah, if you came to me and said, hey, I want my print to have this type of finish, I'd be like, oh man, that's going to be tricky. But now that we've done it, it shouldn't be too hard. So this is from an ironing flow of 15, and 15 to 18, something like that. I do believe, it might have been 14. Anyway, somewhere in that range. What is happening here is there's just not enough flow, so it's not filling in these gaps. It is ironing over some spots, but there is enough of a gap that it's not getting it entirely. So our surface, and you can see in some areas, like right up in here, that's what the ironing should look like. But as it goes over longer distances, we're not getting that. And some even in the short distances, it's not getting that. So I did up it, and we went to like a 20% fill here, and we can see that we're starting to get more of the ironing effect we want. So in certain areas, it is now ironing correctly, but otherwise we still have this tiger print going on. So I upped it from a 14 or no, this was at 20%. I'm now doing 25%. 25% will be the highest ironing fill I've ever done myself, so hopefully this will work well. I do believe that more of that ironing is required, because sometimes I have found that even with 100% flow rate, I still needed up to 20-25% ironing. So with this one having a 10% average reduction in flow, this is probably closer to a 15% average ironing. So we might even need to go higher, but I'm thinking that at the 25, somewhere between 25 and 30, maybe 28 percent ironing flow, we will have a perfectly smooth, nice Rolex clock. As far as what this is, I am unsure. The client is a big clock guy, and I believe sells these to some Facebook members or Facebook groups from either his group or groups that he's in. But this is a really neat print. I actually really like it. It's pretty clean. So I think he's going to be pretty happy. And he did give me permission to do this video, because I don't want to be showing somebody's project that would otherwise be proprietary or otherwise not shared. But yeah, this is a client's print, not one of mine. Client's design or whatever, and that's what he's selling. But pretty nice size print, pretty decent print quality. Should be the only thing this thing is producing. And now that I have this so that every single print is starting just beautifully, I think it's well tuned in. I haven't had to adjust the leveling in over 3 prints. Actually more than that, because I did all those blocks and everything. So probably, I think it's 3 clocks and like another 2 blocks, and it's been mint. So I really like that. What we had to do to this thing was tighten all the screws down. Since this doesn't have any type of, left and right leveling, it needs to keep that X perfectly level. So I tightened the screws on both of these, the wheels down, the concentric nuts. So it's really grabbing that rail, so that when this thing is done printing, one side doesn't just from gravity end up falling like this, and then we get out of level. The auto leveling, semi-useful here. There are some high and low spots in this, but if you look, I have shimmed it in places. There is a business card, kind of hard to see, but there it is. You can kind of see it pretty well there. There's a business card here to raise the edge of it, and I don't remember if I put another one somewhere. I think I had put some small sections in different areas, but that has now leveled it. Sometimes I shim beds to level it, but otherwise this Solvo SV03 is working good. Do I recommend this one? Not necessarily. It's okay. It does have Titan extruder. It is direct drive, but it's otherwise a bed slinger. If you're doing anything with a lot of weight, it's not going to be super useful. Like if we're doing these pod speakers, that's going to be too much weight for the bed slinger. But for something like this, it is an entry-level, decent size print bed, and to knock out like an 18-hour print like this, not too bad at all. I don't know his profit. I don't know what those are running off of, but for the amount of plastic used, he's definitely probably making some decent money. Otherwise, I just wanted to kind of tell this story about Tiger Print. So if you want, or Tiger Surface Finishing, as the way I'm calling it, because I like coming up with names for things, hot swaps and other stuff like that. Finger leveling, I think I haven't heard anyone else mention those, so I think I'm the first person to kind of coin them, or at least use them regularly. But yeah, guys, what do you think? Comment in the comments below. If you absolutely want this profile, I don't mind sharing it. I need at least 1 or 2 people to come out and say, yeah, I want the profile for that. Otherwise, what you're just going to do is adjust your flow settings in ironing to achieve a print finish similar to that. Let's say you just turn on ironing and you print it and it looks perfectly and it smoothed everything out. Reduce your flow on the ironing. Maybe it might need a 2 to 5% flow rate, and you'll get this type of effect. Because I have generally seen it about half as bad as this, and it didn't really give the whole print that type of effect. So this was the first time I've seen a whole print have that effect. So really neat otherwise. But yeah, guys, have a good day. Like, share, subscribe, all that cool stuff. If you got any ideas for videos that you want to see, let me know, and I will be happy to get those out for you. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.